Welcome to Parsnips and Parsimony. In the year 2017, we did a little experiment. We wanted to see if it's worth it buying seeds and doing our own garden or not.
Gardening takes a lot of time and effort, especially when you don't use chemicals in your garden. So we always wondered, how does this actually compare if we were to just not have the garden and go to whether it be a farmer's market or to the organic section of our grocery store? How would these numbers line up? And is it really worth the money and the time that we spend in our garden for the amount of food that we get? And if you guys are wondering what zone we are in, we are gardening in a zone 4. It's going to be near Albany, New York. We're up the northern part of the United States.
And also last year it was kind of cool at the beginning of the growing season, and also we had some rodent problems, so all those things factored in, but that's what you have to deal with when you garden.
We've always noticed that there's some years that some crops do fabulous, like you get amazing amounts of food, and then other years that same crop does pathetic. And so that's just, I think, the nature of gardening. Some years are really good and some years aren't so good.
We kept notes on the date and how much we took in and what the produce was, and you can see we got a lot of things from our garden. And also our fruit trees too, that's thrown in there. And here is the final tally. I'll bring it closer so you can see. And that is what we took in for the year. Some of the highlights, obviously the peaches, 116.5 pounds of peaches. And we actually got far more than that, but they had some type of fungus or disease or something. So I didn't actually weigh them until we ate them because some of them are going bad. And so we tried to hurry up and eat them before they went bad. But
I would say that was closer to 200 pounds.
Yeah, oh, well, I would say well over 200 pounds. We probably lost about half of our crop. So that's what 116 pounds is what we actually ate. In the 3 previous years, we only got 1 peach. We lost 3 years of peach crops. And that 1 peach that we got, we shared with the squirrel. So it was really nice to have a really good peach year this year.
And because we're on that edge of that zone 4 area, peaches are right hit or miss depending on the year. So if we get a late frost, we lost our entire peach crop, and that's pretty much what happened the past 3 years.
Blueberries, 5 ounces, that's pretty bad. We have, I think, about 6 or 7 blueberry bushes. They have never done well, but 5 ounces I think is the best they've ever done. Also for the fruit trees, cherries, 3 ounces. I was so looking forward to having some nice, yummy peaches cherries this year, and it looked like we were going to get a whole bunch. And then the crop just started rotting away again right before we were able to eat them. And we did get a few ounces, but they weren't that good. It was very disappointing, especially since we've had our our cherry trees about 7 or 8 years, and that's all we've gotten. 7 or 8 years, 2 cherry trees, 3 ounces of peaches. So, well, maybe next year. That's when you garden. All you say is maybe next year, and then you look forward to that. Peas did not do well either. 1 pound, 3 3/4 ounces. A mole or something got in and ate most of the seeds. Lettuce and spinach did very well. 11 pounds, 11 ounces of greens, and so that was, I would say that was a success. Oregano, 5 ounces. I'd say that was a success. You don't really need that much oregano. Raspberries. We did not plant raspberries. They've just grown every year. About a half a pound. It's not enough to snack on. You mow the lawn. As you're walking past, you pop a raspberry in your mouth. That's about it. Another one that did very well, beans. 34, almost 35 pounds of beans. Good. And we canned several. How many cans did we can?
I want to say it was 12, 14 quarts of green beans.
Yeah, and those are something we really enjoy eating fresh. And the kids like eating them raw. They just pull them right off the plant and eat them. I don't like them that way. I like them cooked. But
I think one of the advantages, again, of having a garden is with children, is they get to see the plants from seed, and then they see them grow up, and there's nothing better than going to the garden, picking something, and then eating it raw. The kids just love it, and I think it's been a great way to teach the kids to really love their vegetables.
Zucchini's 21 pounds. Zucchinis always do very well. Actually, they didn't do quite as well this year.
This wasn't a good year for that.
No, but still 21 pounds. It's not bad. Cucumbers, 22, almost 23 pounds.
That was a good year.
Yes, and we got to make pickles this year.
And almost all of those cucumbers were the small gherkin size. I didn't buy the big ones, and so we were able to can some dill pickles this season.
And I love dill pickles. They're so
really good.
We had some for lunch yesterday. Patty pan squash, 9.5 pounds. Last year we got a whole bunch of those, and they're good. We really enjoyed it. This year we didn't get as many, but we still got a reasonable amount.
This past season was a really, for the most part, a cool and a wet season. There was water everywhere, and that never happens. So it made gardening a lot more challenging to get any produce out of the garden. In fact, when we were talking to other local gardeners, they were really struggling with having any produce come out of the garden. So, you know, knowing that, we're really thankful for what we even got last year.
Really good one, spaghetti squash. 40 pounds of spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash stores very well, and we still have quite a few of those left.
Spaghetti squash is one of those things that I try to keep right through April or May, so we're not running out before the next produce comes in. Because once summer hits and you have zucchini and patty pans, you don't really need the winter squashes. The winter squash is just that; it's for winter.
Another really good one is tomatoes, 100 pounds. We made a lot of spaghetti sauce, and then we canned it, and we also made some salsa. So that was really good. Those are nice things to have in the winter because you have the taste of garden in the winter.
And if you remember right, I put a lot more spacing between my tomato plants, and I think we had somewhere between 24 and 30 plants. So when you factor that out, that's how many pounds per plant?
It's about 3 or 4 pounds per plant.
So it wasn't great. We had, again, because it was wet, we had an early blight, and we lost a lot of potential with the plants.
Yeah, I think other years we may have done better than 100 pounds, but 100 pounds it's enough. Cauliflower was good, 13 pounds. Broccoli, 6 pounds. Swiss chard, I will say, it says 1 pound, 13 ounces. We got a lot more than that, but we got to freeze and it froze.
I thought it would hold up, and it didn't hold up.
So we lost a lot of that, which is too bad, but...
It was nice too.
Right. So maybe next year. And then I think the funniest one, carrots. 1/4 ounce. We pulled out some carrots out of our garden. I think one was this big, and then we got a smaller one, like that big. That was about it.
They were planted as just some extra seeds. I had a little extra space, and I actually thought they all died. And then when we went to harvest the garden and plant the garlic, I went, "Oh,
carrots!
That's a carrot!" And I pulled it out, and we had like 3 baby carrots.
Here are the carrots we got out of our garden. We're gonna have those for dinner tonight. Let's weigh them first, though. What is it? 1/4 ounce.
Woo! Really close to the camera. It makes it look big. Yeah.
It's giant!
The peppers and the eggplants didn't do so well. We got about 4 pounds of each of them. And again, for whatever reason... Oh, I remember. It was the chipmunk.
The chipmunk ate all our plants. Well, not all, but most.
I don't know what was his problem, but he did not like my peppers plants being where they were. And he was bound determined he was going to gnaw them all off. It was maddening.
It was.
The last 2 items is the zucchiniano. We got 38 pounds of the zucchiniano.
Yeah, that wasn't even very many zucchinianos. Just a handful of them, but they weighed up to...
Huge.
Yes, they were
those
huge.
Big, long horseshoe type things. If you go back and watch some of our vlogs when we harvested them, they were just phenomenal.
Yeah, those were fun to watch those grow in the garden because you had this huge thing in the garden, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And those were a lot of fun.
It looked like a creepy, something you'd watch from a scary movie.
Yeah, and those seeds were given to us by one of our viewers, so thank you very much.
They were really fun to grow.
Yes.
And the last thing we had was pumpkins. We had a little over 95 pounds of pumpkins, which was a really good year. Again, you don't ever know how the year's going to go, but the pumpkins, like, took off all the way into the yard and ran all the way to the peach tree, which I'd never had pumpkins go out that far, and they kept producing and producing. In fact, the only reason they stopped was it got cold. They froze. We had a lot of different varieties, and Art and I were talking tonight at dinner because I just cooked up another pumpkin, and the bare naked, if that's what we think we had, it was supposed to be a pepita type pumpkin. The shells, you can eat the seeds without taking the shells off. They're very light, But what I like the best is when I cook the pumpkin in the Instant Pot, it is that dark orange, like canned pumpkin from the store. The flesh is beautiful, and it mushes up really, really nicely. So I would like to grow them again. Try it again this year and see how they turn out, because I've been really happy with how the pumpkin came out.
And pumpkins are always fun to grow because they're so easy to grow and they take so little work, and it's just fun to watch them. And also they're late year crop, so you get them and then they last. Like it's January 5th and we're just finally using up the last of our pumpkins.
So Art, what was our total for everything in the garden this year?
Everything 439 pounds and 2 ounces.
All right.
So
we spent about $85 on seeds.
And we used only a small fraction of what we bought. So we have a lot of seeds for this year too.
We were very happy with the seed choices that we were able to try this year. I'm not sure how much we're going to need to buy for this upcoming year, but that's for another video when I go through all the seeds and figure out what I need to buy. I've been very happy with Territorial Seed Company. Their prices may seem a little bit higher than some of the other companies, but again, because I know the quality of their seeds and how they've been made, I've been very happy to support them. But I'm sure there are lots and lots of other great companies out there. Some of you have told me of some of the different companies that you use, so thank you for sharing that. Those always play a factor into what I'm ordering, and I'll be checking into those this year because it is January and my mailbox has been filled with seed catalogs. They all know that our gardeners like us are starting to itch to start gardening. In fact, I would like to bring in my small indoor greenhouse and start some spinach and some lettuce in the house and get that started. So Art, would you do it again?
Definitely. I think we learned a lot of good experiences from it. The kids learned a lot too. It's always nice to have the kids out in the garden helping you, and especially good for the little girls. They can do a lot of little things. And if you remember on our vlogs, several months, it was a long time ago now, you see the little girls, they would tuck in the seeds. There's
a lot of homeschool lessons that can be taught for the little girls. And, well, the older kids have already gone through this. But just teaching them just basic things in the garden on how plants grow, and I also appreciate the fact that it makes me get out of the house.
It's something I've noticed. Janelle can be in a bad mood. I know you're shocked that Janelle is in a bad mood sometimes, but she is sometimes. And then when she goes outside in the garden, she's always very happy, and that cheers her up again. So a lot of the things, monetarily, you'd say 400-something pounds of food for $85. It's pretty good, but it's a lot of work. But it's fun work, though. And you can't really put a price on that. So I would say that it is definitely worth it. We'll definitely be doing it again. And there are a lot of good lessons that can be learned in the garden. So overall, I would say it was a big success.
I think a lot of when I first started this vlog, again, it was partly due to just some of the stress factors that I had after my grandmother had died. I will tell you that the garden was part of the thing that saved my sanity, of just being able to go out and even every year going out and being able to see something get accomplished, like pulling weeds. And at the end of the day, your garden can be weed free and you can say, I accomplished something. And that is, to me, is worth it right now in this stage of life. It gives me much joy to have my garden in neat rows and plants growing where they're supposed to. It's just, there's
order.
It's order.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate that a lot. And so even if the money doesn't really add up to the amount of time I put into it, it really is worth it to me. I will probably always have some sort of garden till I get too old to do it. And then I'll probably have Art make me a container garden, you know, so I don't
just
have to...
a couple pots.
Couple pots. I mean, and gardening does not have to be to the extent that we do it. We do it because we want to produce enough food to be able to can it and have it in the wintertime, which we've been eating a lot of green beans because we had those.
Yeah, green beans and pickles and peaches.
But if you live in an apartment or someplace where you have no land, there are some fabulous ways you can still grow on balconies as long as you have sunshine. And you can put a little water in your plants. You are good to go.
Also, if you live in a big city, check on community gardens in your area. I know that my sister does some of that, and the lady who sent us those zucchiniano rapicante seeds, she does a community garden. And check that out. There's always a way to garden if you look out for it. And you can always garden with a friend too. I'm sure there are many gardeners that you know. They'll probably be more than happy to give you a little of their food if you helped out in their gardens. So there's always a way to do it if you are determined to do it.
So thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you for our next video. Bye!